Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician, and if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Today, we're going to talk about number one, how Tuan is really inching closer every day to a complete recovery and how he's doing that. And number two, a big insight from Michelle. She's saying that you shouldn't really react to a night of 8 hours of sleep just as you shouldn't react to a sleepless one. Super nice having you back here. Hope you had a really good Memorial Day, and welcome to anyone that is new to the channel. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, and even for some of you who've tuned in for a while here, you probably have not heard me talk about Tuan. He was one of the first persons I interacted with some 6-7 months ago, really early on when I started this channel. And you can listen to Talking Insomnia episode 5, where Tuan talks in his own words about his insomnia journey. And up to the point where I talked to him that time, he'd started off doing like a little bit of CBTI, kind of self-directed, got a little bit better. When I spoke to him the first time, he was in these patterns. Like he would have like one terrible night, another pretty poor one, then a recovery night, and then a reasonably good one. It was like these patterns, and that's a little backdrop. As mentioned, you can watch this, you can listen to this whole episode if you want to hear me in his own words. But I was in touch with him. Was it today or yesterday? Yesterday, I think, as well as today. And I just want to share some really exciting news. He wrote this: "Hi Daniel, my recovery is progressing well. The last bad sleepless night occurred almost a month after our last conversation, which was about a month ago. And at that time, it was about a month ago before his previous, sleepless night. So 2 bad nights in 2 months. That's pretty good, I'd say. And I wanted to read one more thing that he also said here, which was, this past month has been surprising indeed. I feel that sleepless nights are instrumental in resetting your sleep pattern for the better. This and the fact that each day on the sleep protocol is one day closer to recovery. These two principles keep me going to the straight and narrow and help to deal with bad nights." If you're like very early on in trying to treat your insomnia, then it's not quite as easy to see that sleepless nights can be a good thing. But if you're kind of like in what I call like, maybe still the bumpy ride stage, but like kind of later, almost towards where you're getting a foothold, and you are you have a pattern with like kind of like predominantly better nights, or you're getting there, and then you have like one of these like completely like terrible sleepless nights, then that can actually be helpful, and in two ways. One is that if you are able to like still somehow find it in you to be positive and be productive and do things that day, then what will happen is that you will realize that not everything is dependent on how many hours of sleep you get, and you'll fear sleepless nights less, and that is a huge step towards like not having insomnia anymore. And secondly, of course, like just going back to basic sleep physiology, if you sleep very little one night, you will have more wakefulness during the day, which will build the sleep drive, and then you're more likely to sleep better the following night. Keep in mind, expectations never good. So if you have a sleepless night, then just like try to be positive. Try to think, I might get a better night tomorrow night. Don't expect it, but you just might. So I just want to share that Tuan is doing very good. I'm really happy, and he is like very close to that final stage of recovery where you actually don't need a sleep protocol anymore. You can just like leave any thoughts about sleep, like kind of abandon any sleep efforts, any sleep thoughts, anything, and just like go by emotions, etc. But that said, no need to rush that. As long as you're recovering, then I say just keep on going, keep on doing what you're doing. Number one. And then I wanted to bring up a really insightful comment here. This was a comment on episode pod 14, which I called Apple Wonders Why She Can't Sleep. And Michelle wrote the following here. She said, "Can't wait for part 2," which was very encouraging. There'll definitely be a part 2 of that podcast episode. And then she said, by the way, I slept for 8 hours last night. I no longer look at this as, wow, this is my new normal, etc., but rather a night where I needed more rest. I don't expect this to be any kind of sign. It simply was longer sleep was needed. Tonight, sleep will be what is needed depending on my daily activities and how I handle the challenges of simply living. I think like what really stood out to me as an insight here was the fact that she's basically saying, even if you have a longer night, then you shouldn't react to it. Meaning you should not go to that place where you're like, oh, I slept 8 hours. What did I do? Did I have more kale than usual? Did I not put on my sunglasses the whole day? Or did I skip to, take a long bath? And, if you go to that place where you're trying to figure out why you slept so much, then you're going to focus on the insomnia. Like you're focusing on your sleep, you're thinking about it, you're trying to analyze it, which then leads to self-monitoring. You're like, I didn't eat any kale. What if I don't eat any kale today? Am I going to sleep better? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I didn't, that leads to a place of self-monitoring, like obsessing, clock watching, etc. More insomnia. If you do what Michelle is doing, you have an unusually long night of sleep. Okay, interesting. And then you just don't think more about it. That is the path to recovery. Absolutely, 100%. So thanks, Michelle, for this, and thanks, Tuan. I'm really happy you're doing so well, Tuan. And in fact, I have another email I want to share with somebody that just reached out to me that has also kind of in a self-directed way gotten very far towards recovery, but not taking that final step, kind of like where Tuan is. And I want to talk about how to take that final step towards like completely recovering from insomnia. I hope this was helpful, and tons more to come. I'm in a position where I'm like, so much to talk about. I just wish I had more time. But I'm doing my best to put out really helpful things out there. And as always, please comment or send me an email, daniel@insomniainsight.co. Hope to have you back here real soon. Until then, take it easy.